Have you ever wondered what happens to our bodies when we eat more than we should? Well, the simple answer is nothing good. Our body produces a limited quantity of digestive enzymes, which are basically like little bodies in the stomach that breaks up food and reroutes them to different organs for energy. So when we eat excessively, those enzymes, they just can't process everything that's being bombarded at them. And as a result, some foods stay in our stomachs longer than they should, causing discomfort, bloating, tummy pain. And then what isn't broken down is then stored as fat. Our body and all its functions can't just continue to work endlessly trying to break down all this food. I mean, we wouldn't expect anybody to be overworked or overloaded. And that causes a plethora of problems. So one good solution is intermittent fasting, where you cycle between states of fasting and non-fasting. I'm Dr. Candy, a GP and a mum to two, and I talk about little actions that make a big difference to your overall health and wellness. So without further ado, here are some of the key benefits of intermittent fasting. Our bodies come under so much insult every day, both the seen and the unseen. And what we eat, how we eat, when we eat is one of the biggest causes. According to the World Health Organization, an unhealthy diet is one of the leading risk factors to loads of problems like obesity and cancer. And if you've been listening to my channel long enough, you'll know all of this. And now more than ever, we're eating more unhealthy processed foods and in really, really large quantities. So even though we lead more sedentary lifestyles, let's say compared to the 60s, we're consuming way more calories, leading to innumerable stress on our bodies. And the data is showing us that all the disease rates are going up. Intermittent fasting reduces inflammation by just removing the stress from the digestive system, giving our bodies time to heal from that constant bombardment. Unfortunately, we're living in an age where type 2 diabetes is really common. In the UK, 1 in 10 people over 40 have type 2 diabetes, and more than 1 million people are undiagnosed, largely due to excessive diet and lack of physical exercise. Several studies, excitedly, have shown that intermittent fasting reduces blood sugar levels. One study even found that intermittent fasting reduces sugar levels by about 3 to 6% over a course of just 8 to 12 weeks. I don't condone dieting for weight loss, and to me, intermittent fasting isn't a dieting fad. It can promote healthier weights in a healthier way by first increasing the metabolic rate, which is the time it takes for food to be turned into energy. So the slower it takes for food to be turned into energy, the higher the fat production. And secondly, because we're technically consuming fewer calories, right? Because we're fasting. Although some people conversely eat more in that period of non-fasting, which kind of eradicates the point. But in addition to this, during those fasted states, because there's no food coming in, our body focuses on getting energy from our stored fat, helping us to reduce our weight. So recent animal studies and a few preliminary human trials have shown a reduction in risk for cancer or a decrease in cancer growth rates, which is pretty impressive stuff. There's something about fasting that decreases the amount of glucose being produced, increases tumor killing cells, regenerates the immune system, and just balances out our nutritional input. In a 2016 trusted study, research showed that a combination of both fasting and chemotherapy slowed the progression of breast cancer and skin cancer. So there are various types of intermittent fasting, and all of them offer somewhat similar benefits, but just tailored to each individual, right? So there are 5 main types of intermittent fasting. Let me just briefly chat you through them. There's a 16-8 method, and this involves 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating window. So say, for example, last food's at 8 o'clock, it means no eating till noon the next day. There's the 5-2 diet. This method is popularised by Michael Mosley, a British journalist, and it's essentially 5 days a week eating and then restricting your diet on 2 days to about 500 calories. There's the alternate day fasting, is another type of intermittent fasting, which means fasting every other day. The warrior diet recommends eating only 1 large meal at night and eating smaller servings of like raw veggies and fruits throughout the day. There's obviously spontaneous meal skipping, which I'm sure I do all the time, which is another popular type of intermittent fasting, and that works well with most people because, you know, I mean, I don't always find the time to eat, but you know, there's no formalities to it. Instead, you just skip a meal time to time and just take the pressure off our digestive system and remembering. But intermittent fasting isn't for everyone. Like children, women who are pregnant or breastfeeding, people with eating disorders, and certain chronic diseases as well should definitely discuss with their doctor before they undertake any fasting techniques whatsoever. So to conclude, I just want to say again that I don't condone dieting, and it's clear that I want you to know that I don't see intermittent fasting as that. It's more when you eat as opposed to what you eat. And remember that fasting is nothing new. People have done it for centuries, from religious reasons to our hunter-gatherers foraging and not always finding food. Since the beginning of the year, personally, I have adopted the 16-8 method. So again, if I eat at 8 p.m, I usually don't pick up anything till about midday. And there's something really mindful about being aware of what you're putting into your body and when. Remember those fasted states. Yes, you can technically eat what you like, but in order to maximize the benefits, it's really important just to eat healthy greens, fruits, wholesome legumes, and clean proteins, and avoid processed foods and artificially sweetened beverages. Comment, share, follow Life of Dr. Candy for more little actions that make a big difference to your overall health and wellness. Thank you for listening.